Hey everybody, welcome back to my virtual arcade. It's my favorite time of the year, October, and I have got 10 horror games that I'm going to show you that are compatible with your Wii across different emulators. On top of the awesome games I'm about to recommend, I just uploaded a new Horror Wave Synthwave mix for your Halloween pleasure, so don't forget to check that out. Just drop on over to the playlist for more information. The first game on my list, Project Zero 2 Wii Edition, was released in 2012. And this is part of the Fatal Frame series, and if you're not familiar with that series, you're basically exploring a bunch of desolate areas, and you have this camera that can exorcise ghosts and basically kill them, hurt them in a way. I really like this version on the Wii because this has a haunted house simulator, which is obviously something that I really need right now because all of the haunted houses and mazes that I would usually go to during October are closed because of everything that's going on. But I will be straight with you guys, this is something that you need to try if you're kind of in the same position that I am, where you want to get out there and experience a haunted house but just can't. Give this a chance, and I can guarantee you're gonna get a couple jumps. Turn off the lights, turn the volume up really loud, and just see for yourself. At the end of this, it does measure how much you're shaking, and it kind of gives you a chart of how scared you were, how brave you were, and that's also a good addition to this game.
Open your heart up some more.
The next scary game on my list is Juwon The Grudge. This version was actually based on the original movie that came out in Japan years ago. I'm guessing the early 2000s. Regardless, if you're looking for a haunted house simulator, this is the way to go. This is probably another one on my top list of scary games because of the environment that this game sets you in. You're walking around with a flashlight, and the Wiimote is used really well here. It doesn't feel gimmicky at all. I mean, it just makes perfect sense. You keep waking up in different scenarios for the different levels, and you kind of gotta find your way out. You gotta solve puzzles and just connect the dots pretty much to find an exit out. This is another great example of how a haunted house simulator can be done well on the Wii. Trust your boy, try it out this Halloween. Alright, the next scary game on my list is Splatterhouse. Now this can actually be played using the Graphx 16 emulator, or because this was originally a virtual console release on the Wii, you can download the WAD too. You just gotta look for it. Don't ask me, I'm not giving out free stuff on here. Y'all gotta do your research for that. But let's get past that. The point of this is that this is just a badass old school horror game, the way that they used to be made in the early 90s. And they nailed the 80s horror movie soundtrack. If you guys are in the early 80s horror movies, then I definitely suggest that you guys check this game out. So, you played Splatterhouse, but have you played Splatterhouse 2? Well, you better have GenPlus GX, the Genesis emulator, on your Wii, because that's how you're going to be playing this game. Splatterhouse 2 is basically the next rendition of the first version, but this has better graphics, better gameplay, but they somehow managed to pack in more spooks and blood and gore, making this game a worthy sequel to play. And would you believe it, kids back then still wanted more blood. So we got Splatterhouse 3 on the Sega Genesis, which means nowadays on your Wii you're going to be using the GenPlus GX emulator. Splatterhouse 3 is like its two predecessors, where you beat up demons and monsters in search of a loved one. More violence, better graphics, better sound. If you've already played the first two, it's definitely a must that you play the third and final version. The next scary ass horror game on the Wii, and yes, that's an understatement because this game is scary AF, is Sacrifice of Night. This was released in 2011 on the Wii, and this was actually just a Japanese release, but if you're lucky enough, you can find a English patch that allows you to be able to read everything. Unfortunately, I only have the Japanese version, but don't let that deter you. This game is freaking scary just to play like that as it is. The game sets you in the premise of being in a haunted house stuck with a bunch of friends, and you're trying to figure out all of these broken stories along the way. This is yet another game that takes advantage of the awesome Wiimote, using it as a flashlight so that you can look around your environment. Oh yeah, you'll for sure enjoy this game, but you probably might want to keep your lights on when you try going to sleep that night. What good is October if you don't have vampires? So for that, I'm going to recommend that you guys play Castlevania Rondo Blood. Now this can be played on the Wii using the Graphx 16 emulator, or because it was released as a virtual console game, you can actually just look for the WAD. I'll be honest, I'm never usually creeped out by Castlevania games, but the intro to this version, wow. Holy crap, that is dark. I've never seen anything like that in a Castlevania game. Am I missing something? You guys let me know down in the comments below. But as soon as I saw that, I knew I had to play this game, and I knew that I had to recommend to you guys. This is another fast-paced entry of the Castlevania series, and it does have a lot of nods to the older Castlevania games. And if you guys did notice in the beginning, yes, you were reading Japanese and listening to German. I guess that's just because this was a Japanese release, and I think that there is an English version out there. I haven't been able to find it, but you guys might have better luck than I do. Alright, I promise I'm not trolling y'all with this game, but look, this is gaming history right here. We're going to go all the way back to 1983, Halloween, on the Atari 2600, which means you're going to be using the Wii 2600 emulator for this. As you can tell by the amazing graphics, you play as Laurie Strode, walking around the house trying to rescue little kids and walk them to safety, trying to avoid Michael Myers as you navigate through the house. But look guys, look! Blood! Blood on the Atari 2600! It's so awesome! I do like the effect that they added in here though, where the lights start to flicker. Honestly though, give this retro Halloween game a shot during the Halloween season. And going on to the next scary game on my list, Super Nintendo's Clock Tower. So you're going to be using SNES GX for this. Probably the scariest game on the Super Nintendo platform, period. 16-bit graphics, and boy do they push the boundaries with this game. This is a point-and-click game where you're stuck inside of a house that is supposed to be haunted but which you do not know about. You only find out about that later on. But you're basically trying to solve mysteries throughout the game. Dark, twisted environments, spooky sounds, and this crazy guy with scissors chasing you around the whole mansion the entire time. Hell yeah, count me in. There is a Japanese version out there as well as an English patch version, so just be sure you get the right one. The ninth scary game on my list is Resident Evil 0. This was released on the Wii, and if you're into the old school Resident Evil tank mechanics, you're definitely gonna love this game. This game includes everything you like about the old Resident Evil series, but with updated graphics and updated sound. Numerous mutated monsters, zombies galore, puzzles that you have to solve, and tight spaces that you have to maneuver through makes this a Resident Evil game that is worth playing. I personally think this is one of the scarier entries of Resident Evil that's available on the Wii, so I would recommend trying this out for sure. And the final scary game on my list is Cursed Mountain. This was released on the Wii in 2009, and it's probably one of the most unique survival horror games that I've ever played. This takes place in the 80s, and you are a mountain climber who's looking for a lost relative. No GPS, no iPhone, nothing. You and your own directions are supposed to help you navigate through this entire game. As tedious as that sounds, it does leave you to a lot of exploration, which does make this game great. The mountains are haunted by a bunch of monks, and luckily in this survival horror game you are able to fight back using shamanistic powers. Definitely a game slept on by many, but that's why I'm here, to remind you that this is a game that you have to play this October for spooks. Alright guys, that's going to do it for me this time. I hope I've supplied enough games to keep you busy for October. If there are any horror games that you think I've missed out, leave your comments down below, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.